Welcome back to Do It Myself Garage. I've got the Craftsman T3000 back in the garage. Neighbor threw a belt. He hit some freshly laid sod and it balled up underneath and burnt the belt up on him. I was going to do the belt and this stupid shift pattern thing on here is loose. So there's a bolt up under here. There's a bolt right up under here. You won't be able to see it. It's right up on, oh, there he is. So anyway, there's a bolt right up under there. I got to take that loose, get this thing back in place, and then put the bolt back in. It's supposed to just tuck down in there, but for some reason it popped out. So let's fix that real quick for him before I even get going on replacing the belt. Okay, I got that bolt out of there. And you can see down here there's this little tab here it's supposed to sit into. And the piece on the cover is not broken, so somehow I must have just popped out. Let's get them tucked back in there. All right, she's back on there and tight. That screw is pretty hard to get to because that gas tank's in the way, but we got her. All right, now let's get to the deck. I'm gonna probably take the deck off of here and make it a little bit easier. All right, so pulled all these cotter pins out of the linkages, one off the, there's one that hooks on the front here. Pretty straightforward. I pulled this engagement cable. It tucks into here. You just pull on it hard and you can get the cable to slide up out of the notch. Now I just want to disconnect the spring from there. So I can get this whole, I gotta get this spring off of there so I can get this whole thing out. I want to clean it up, make sure all the bearings on here are good, and then get the belt on, make sure it's on there proper. It ain't gonna hurt to clean this deck up a little bit. Maybe I'll sharpen his blades for him too while I'm at it. Bolts are in good shape. Alright, let's get these sharpened. Alright, got them blades all sharpened up. There we go. Blades back on. Let's flip her over. Get this belt on there. Just touched up a couple of the really bad areas with a little Rust-Oleum. Probably not going to help a whole lot, but it sure isn't going to hurt. So it'll look a little nicer sticking out from under the mower. So she's all clean. Got a little paint on most of the rusty spots. Blades are sharpened. Let's go ahead and get that belt back on there, see if I can figure out how that goes on there. I didn't pay much attention when I took the remnants off. he provided me with the belt, so not sure if this is the right one, but hopefully it is, with any luck. All right, so when you're doing a belt, the tapered part always goes in the groove. Okay, and then there should be a mechanism on here that stops the blades. So if you can figure out how that works, you can get this tucked in here. And then these idler pulleys, the back of the belt is always on them. So that should kind of help you figure out how it goes. I do know this has to go to the drive pulley back there. Alright, so I may have this wrong here. Hold on. No, maybe not. Is that thing stuck? I think that thing's stuck. This is supposed to rotate with this. Oh, it goes a ways before it goes. Okay, that's fine. Ow. Yeah, don't get your fingers pinched. Oh, there's a pulley diagram on here. And it shows that the belt goes all the way around the outside. But that doesn't make sense. Oh, I'm looking at it backwards. So it goes like this. Drive is up here. This part goes here. That's why you don't paint over those labels. You can actually still barely read it, but you can read it. Okay, it goes around the outside like that. Then it tucks in here. Pull this back. There we go. That's how it shows it on the little diagram here. Make sure you're tucked in behind all these things. Make sure these little posts here, sometimes they'll get bent. They're to keep the belt from jumping off. If you can get the belt between them, they've probably been bent a little bit. You can bend them back a little closer to the pulley. Don't get too close, but helps. If you have belts that jump off all the time, a lot of times that's why. Because these decks will bounce when you hit stuff. And it's supposed to give. That's why there's a belt instead of a direct drive. You'd be snapping stuff all the time. So when he hit that sod, he was good to go. Just wiped out a belt. No big deal. All right, so now these two arms actually are forward. I know I didn't show me taking it apart. I will show putting it back together. Getting it apart's the easy part. Putting it back together can be a little bit trickier. But I don't foresee a problem on this one. I've had it off of here before for him, so let's go ahead and roll this back in the garage, and we should be good to go. Oh, and I didn't show, but these are okay. I'd like to see them a little freer, but they're not grinding, so they should be good for a while for him. But they do sell replacements for these. That they replace that whole assembly. All right, I think I mentioned this before, but with editing, sometimes stuff gets left out. These two arms, make sure that they are forward before you put it under here. Otherwise, you won't be able to flip them around. So when you're working on blades and stuff like that, if they get moved, they'll be in the wrong spot. So I've got the belt threaded on there. That's the pulley that the front goes on. And then also make sure that your back, the lift bars or the lift arms, make sure those are out of the way, or you won't be able to slide it in here either. So I got it close. I'm just gonna push it the rest of the way, and let's start hooking the arms up. I'll show you how that goes. We'll get the belt on there first because you got to get that threaded through there, and then you can slide it back into place. I'll show you how the belt goes on as well. Give me just a second here to get some cardboard on the ground, lay down, and show you how this goes. Alright, pulled it back out here. Be sure you hook up this engagement cable first before you get too far. So let's get him hooked in here. So the hook part goes right in there, and then the support, the stop for it, is right over here. Let me show you that. Alright, so this guy hooks in here. Hook him from the bottom. If you hook him from the top, you'll never get it off of there again. Shoot. So keep in mind of what you're doing. So he's got to come around here. So that's why kind of, for me, videotaping has been a huge help, because I can go back and look at my videos to see how I took stuff apart, you know. So anyhow, that goes there. This piece comes back here, and you can pull on that spring. And I'll push her back in a little further again. So let me pull that other corner around. So anyway, that goes in there, and this tucks in here, and that clips in there. So when you go to pull it out, I guess I was supposed to push on that. I got it to pull out earlier. I don't think I broke it none. But anyway, that's your engagement. Engage, disengage. Oh, I'm gonna flop this guy back down. And that cable should clear now. Push him back. The cable, let me get you off the stand here. You gotta watch this stuff. So that cable comes down, comes around here. Here's the belt. It should. That piece goes there. Why does that cable seem like that's in the wrong spot? Well, that's because that belt is so loose. There we go. Once that belt is tight, I think she'll be okay. Let me get this partially a little bit more together, and actually I'm going to put the belt on up here now. Let's see if I can set you down. Apologize if the lighting isn't the best here. It's nice and bright for me, but for cameras, they don't like the bright outdoors. Okay, so there's these hooks here. They look like hooks. They're where the belt needs to go through. There we go. Okay, and is that belt too long? I think we got the right belt. Alright, tried to film that and the thing was zoomed in all the way. Anyhow, went to the other side. This one had to slide back quite a ways. So now I got it hooked on that bar hook there. And then I have to do this hook back here, but that's just a lift one. I'm not worried about that. You have to get these two front ones, these two main ones in first. These hold the deck in place forward to back, and this determines where everything sits. So get your cotter key back in there. This is kind of a fancy one that they have. I don't know. it like self-locks. Let me try to, oopsie, trying to do this and not drop my camera. So anyhow, this one needs to go in here. All right, so the deck was shifted from side to side, so I pushed it that way, away from me a little bit more, and then now it lined up. So I got that one in there. Let me go around to the other side. Same thing here. Get that one lined up. I'm sorry, right over here. Get that lined up. And then if you get it lined up real good, it floats under here, so you can kind of move it around. Anyway, so I should be able to get this cotter key in here. There we go, he's locked now. I think that's why I had this zip tied up before. Well, I didn't see an adjustment. I'm gonna go ahead and try it. Let's go ahead and put this back lift one on. Same thing, put your washer on there. Cotter pin, do the other side now. And then the last one to do is this little guy here. Okay, she's all back together. Let's see if she works. I'm a little concerned about how loose that belt is. We'll find out in a second, I guess. Oh, let's see if I even remember how this thing works. Okay, up all the way. Probably have to break in to start it. Apparently you cannot mow in reverse on this. That would be annoying as heck. You have to disengage the belt every time you go in reverse. I don't like how the height is adjusting. It's at the lowest right here. So we lost a bunch of our adjustment. I'm going to adjust those arms. Otherwise it doesn't come up very high. And you kind of need that for going down the road. Let me make an adjustment on that real quick. I'll show you what I'm doing. Yeah, just get a wrench. This is that adjustment arm. Just get a wrench on here on this nut and run her up. Then run it up the same amount on both sides. I'm going to probably run it up the full limit here because this thing is way out of adjustment. Alright, I stand corrected. There is an adjustment on here. This thing was assembled wrong, or someone did something wrong at some point. This bolt right here, there's a slot, and there's a bump, or a bubble, in this bracket here. The bolt goes in the front, and this slot comes back here. It keeps it from rotating, and this entire bracket was on the other side of the bubble. So there was absolutely zero tension on the spring at all. So now it holds the belt a little bit tighter. Well, not much tighter, but I'm going to tie this cable up out of the way. That's why I had it zip tied before. And this belt is a little on the long side, but it should engage even better now that this thing is in the right spot, and he probably won't go through belts anymore like he's been doing. I think this is the second time I've done the belt, and I never thought to look to see if the adjustment was right. I don't know these mowers that well. I just tinker around, and I'm helping out a neighbor for free, so that's sometimes what you get. So I'm going to zip tie this piece up in here so that this cable, less chance of it getting rubbed on, and we should be good to go. I got this one adjusted up and just until there's a little bit of play here. That way when you need to drop it down to take the deck off, you can still get it. And you will need, if you're going to do this, you're going to need a deep well socket or a lot of patience with a wrench. Now, got it at the highest setting, and it is actually up off of the ground now. So that should work a lot better for him. Ran them both in the same amount, so it should be nice and even. I'm gonna run it back. It's a successful video. You know, if you got stuff to do around the house and get fixed, you know, you can try to do it yourself. If you don't know what you're doing, you know, there is YouTube. That's why I post these. But be careful what you're doing. You can mess stuff up. I'm thinking back to that throttle, to that release bracket. I think I might have had that off of there actually. So it might have been me that messed that up. But at any rate, she's back together. We're good to go, and I'm going to return it to him. Thanks again for watching. Like, share, subscribe, all those great things. Follow along for more great YouTube content. See you in the next video. Bye.